Hey everybody, welcome back. The bad pennies are back too. I'm Sho. This is my friend Alan. And this one. It's gonna be a good one.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about one of these things that we don't like to talk about. Men don't like to talk about this.
Don't like to talk about
well,
this.
because it's just the truth. And the more you can embrace the truth, of course, the easier it is to be clear about life and to be clear about who you are and what direction that you're going to go in life and the decisions that you're going to make based on your commitments and your purpose in life. Right?
Yeah, right.
And the last podcast we got into some very specific ways of being for men that garner respect.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about a couple of things that do the absolute opposite, and it's not even. In fact, these things don't even get you liked. All right, and it's such common behavior for men, and it's kind of permeated all of human existence, including women and children. I mean, to a degree, everybody does it, but we're just going to talk about how men do it and how destructive it is, and and that is the way that we avoid responsibility in telling the truth.
Let's go. Let's do it. I want to hold a mirror up to society.
Yeah, right? Really. Here we go. Well, we're holding a mirror up to ourselves when we're doing that. So it's common that we don't like to be responsible, and often we really don't like to tell the truth. In fact, men grow up learning how to lie, and we lie about a lot of stuff. And it's again, it's not okay to lie. All right, I'm not saying all right, go out there and lie, Sho.
No.
All right, but it's something we do, and we do it so much we're not even aware of it. And it's not good for, ultimately, it's not honorable, of course, but it's not good for relationships, and it's not good for society. And as we talked in the previous one about the fact that being honest and truthful does not always mean telling the truth, because it may actually cause harm to others.
Okay.
So you got to know, you got to be wise enough to know when to tell the truth and when not to. You have to be wise enough to know when you're in a place that's appropriate to tell all of the truth. And again, being honest and telling the truth requires a lot of courage and risk, because it may come back on you.
Okay.
And you have to be willing to not only accept the risk, but when it does come back on you, that you accept whatever those consequences might be. Well, the way that we insulate ourselves from that is a behavior that I call justifications and excuses. In addition to the lies, right? The lies come in there too. We lie, and then we make excuses, or we justify stuff. So we do something that's really messed up, and instead of taking it on and telling the truth about it and taking responsibility for it, we'll come up with a really good justification, or we'll come up with a really good excuse, and think that insulates us or protects us from whatever consequences or personal embarrassment that may be involved in making a bad decision or a mistake or just screwing something up. All right.
Yeah.
So a lot of the work that I do with men is directly involved in the whole process of taking on responsibility, or not just taking on responsibility, but being responsible. And not just for the things that you personally do, but for like everything. Even things that you don't think you're responsible for.
Okay.
That's a really high level of living as a human being.
Yeah.
And the only way to take on that kind of responsibility is by eliminating all of that desire and sort of natural habit to justify or excuse it away. Insulate yourself. Put the wall up there. Okay. So the definition, we got the definitions up this time in this podcast. So the justify definition is to show or prove to be just, right, or reasonable. To show or prove to be just, right, or reasonable. And the second one is to defend or show sufficient reason for an act done. Now, if it's an act that works, again, you don't have to necessarily defend it. In fact, when you're really comfortable with who you are, and the more you sort of fill your own shoes, so to speak, the need to defend yourself, to justify your actions, to make excuses for how you live, begin to kind of drop away. You shed that.
Okay.
Because there's no longer a need, because you are clear about yourself, about who you are, what you do, the decisions that you've made, all of those things. And they're all based in all of the things we just recently talked about.
Yeah.
About the things you have to do to be respected, living honorably, living committed, living purposeful, disciplined. And when you've developed yourself and evolved yourself to the level of being very clear about all of that, there's nothing to defend. You just are who you are. You don't need to make an excuse. You don't need to justify your actions. Now, there are situations in life where you have to show, well, we did this, and this is why we did this. Okay, especially in professional situations, right? Sometimes you have to actually be clear about why that decision was made, just so that others can learn from it.
Okay,
that's how we learn. But when it comes to just our own, who we are and our own conduct, the more you defend yourself, the less, as far as I can tell, the less clear a man is about who he is.
Yeah. So I'm a little confused on whether or not justification is being used as a tool of a competent person. You said insulation at one point, as in a form of protection.
Right.
So that means that you're using justification as almost to cover a weakness?
Yes. It covers weakness and not having to be responsible for the weakness.
Okay.
Excuse is the same thing. It covers up a weakness that you don't want to be responsible for. But when you have, fully, like I said, fully filled your shoes, and that you're clear about who you are, you more than likely are also clear about your weaknesses too. Okay. You don't have to make excuses for them.
Excuses is different from justifications.
They are, but they're related, right?
Right.
They're very much related, but they're not exactly the same thing.
I remember when I was 18 years old, the speech that I had to memorize. Thank you, college. Thank you, Howard University. Excuses are the tools of the weak and incompetent, building bridges to nowhere and monuments to nothing. And those who use them seldom amount to anything else. Excuses are the tools of the weak and incompetent.
Yes.
So I was always told that don't make excuses. If there's something that you didn't do, there's a reason why you didn't do it. Be truthful with that reason. Or go do the thing that you were supposed to do and you won't have an excuse. And
again, the without the excuse, you have to take responsibility for whatever you did and whatever happened.
Right.
Including all of the ramifications,
right,
and consequences of that. So we don't have excuses in the dictionary.
Oh, bam.
That's two for today that we have to add. So, but yes, that really is how excuses are used. And again, covering up a weakness, a mistake, a problem, And just like justifying it,
Yeah.
you're also insulating yourself from
Right.
responsibility.
So when you screwed up something, but you want to make it seem like it wasn't your fault, oh, I'll come up with an excuse. You didn't do the thing that you were supposed to do. It was your fault. Take responsibility for it. Own it.
And it's not a bad word. Responsibility is not a bad word.
No, it's
In
not.
fact,
Actually, excuse is a bad
I
word.
find that all of the really great men in my life, and there are a lot of them, they embrace it fully. They embrace being responsible.
Yeah.
And at a level that amazes me. Actually, it's humbling actually to be around men that embrace life so directly and fully, and without justifications and excuses, and take responsibility at that level. It's amazing. And just think about how the world would be if we all were like that. If we all just stopped lying and making excuses and justifying everything, and just, told the truth and decided, that we'll be responsible. We'll take the responsibility for things instead of blaming others.
Well, if you can go back pretty far in history. You can go back to biblical times, and lying has always been a part of humanity.
It has.
And it shouldn't exist, but it does.
Well, I mean, again, it gives us something to overcome, right? It gives us something to champion as to how we're going to conduct ourselves in our life, and what are the important things that are worth fighting for, worth standing for, worth being a stand. Are we going to be a stand for truth? Are we going to really be a stand for humanity? Are we going to be a stand for being responsible for everything, right? Because we really are, whether we want to take that responsibility on or at least acknowledge it, is immaterial.
Okay.
You're still responsible. You just cover it up with with the justifications and excuses and the lies all the time.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And it affects the world on a large scale, and it affects our relationships on a personal scale. It affects if you are this way around your children, then your children will become that way. Right? And then they take that out into the world. And again, we keep perpetuating a behavior that's very low level. I'm not going to call it wrong. It's just low level. And I would hope that our audience is here to go above that.
Right.
To live at a much higher level of being, right? Because I think that the rewards are worth it, the work.
Yeah. When you do the work, you get the reward. Doing the hard work is what gets you the reward of the thing that is.
And you don't necessarily do the work for the reward, but the reward makes the work when you've done the work. The rewards.
It's worth it.
Make it. Yeah. You look back at it.
What was that?
Well, it was worth it.
What was that thing I heard? Freaking childhood sayings. If it's easy, it won't be worth it. If it's worth it, it won't be easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense. I just, I think about some of the community service projects we've done over the years, and a number of them we went into schools, and we built libraries, and we did murals and mosaics
Meaningful
on the walls
thing, right?
of a very, our system, our government system, is based on bidding and stuff like that. So when they paint a school, it's the paint company that gives them the best bid, and it's usually a really crappy ass color, right? And so they paint, and they're not doing it as much anymore, but there's still a lot of them out there, painted with paint that was the lowest bidder, and the colors just kind of bleh, and not very stimulating for young minds, right? I mean, it's like developing human brains needs stimulation in all the different ways. And so we would go in and repaint them, and we would paint them with murals and bring in artists and was a lot of work, and it would take months of preparation and just a couple of days of work.
Yeah.
Or we'd get the whole community and all the teachers and all the kids, and everybody pitches in to do this in a short period of time. And once we were and with those literally thousands and thousands of hours of volunteer work, both before and during the project, just to see one kid just smiling and looking at the mural. That one child, just one child, and it's
That's
never
the reward.
limited to just one kid.
Right. But there's a big reward in that.
Just one child made all of that work with it, all of it. So the rewards are often exponential compared to the work that you put in. But when you're just staring at it, the work seems to be like Mount Everest sometimes.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that it's not worth climbing.
Right. And if you cancel the job, if you don't show up for the job, and then you come up with an excuse, you're just weak.
And the world's full of excuses.
The world is full of excuses.
And after we make the excuse, then we justify the excuse. And
let's not do
that. And
that.
then if that's not working, then we lie about it. So it like I said, it's not wrong, because it is integrated into human existence. But we have the opportunity to rise above it, to be better than that, and ultimately to take responsibility for everything. It doesn't matter, and you don't even have to turn it into right or wrong or good or bad.
Right.
Taking responsibility is just of everything, and getting the lesson, whatever there is in that process, right?
Yeah. And
then whatever weaknesses we have, whatever mistakes we've made, we get to learn from them and be better the next time. And then the next time and the next time. Otherwise, we just sort of relegated to repeat. And, like history. If you don't learn from history, you're
gonna repeat it.
Repeat it.
Yeah. Wow.
So there you go. Excuses and justifications.
Wow. Don't use them, guys.
Cut them out of your life.
Yeah.
It's not even just don't use them. Just begin the process of embracing responsibility
and truth,
and whatever, and let the chips fall.
Yeah.
Because it's, in most cases, it's not as bad as you think it's going to be.
Yeah. It's gonna make you stronger when you take the responsibility. Yes, you're showing weakness by using an excuse for not doing the thing that you needed to do. But instead, if you take the responsibility for not doing what it'll do, what you were supposed to do, then you get stronger, so that the next time that situation comes up, you have more strength, honor, integrity, respect for doing the thing that you would have normally failed at doing.
Yes, and again, taking responsibility does garner respect, which is the couple podcasts back. So check out the Respect podcast, and we get to pitch our own podcast, don't we?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good.
There we go.
So
supposed to.
But yeah, it does not only garner respect, but people will want to follow you.
Yeah.
It's really a good leadership tool as well. And then you're not, pushing people away with your excuses and justifications.
Yeah.
But you're actually bringing people in with and teaching them about being responsible as well.
Yeah. There it is, man.
Okay. So
Thank
that's
you.
it.
All right, Alan. Until next time.
Yeah. Bad Pennies will be back.
We'll be back.